The Senior Patrol Leader, Colin Robinson, will lead us in the posting of the colors, please.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be together and for giving us the time to reflect our purposes in life and to remember that we are your instruments in assisting those around us and in making our world a better place. You have given us the ability to experience the genuine happiness that comes from sharing our lives, our talents, and our possessions with those around us. Tonight, for Detrick Alliance is hosting the appreciation dinner to recognize and appreciate all efforts and hard work that their members, sponsors, partners, and more than 400 volunteers for Detrick, Forest Glen Annex, and NCI have provided to support for Detrick community and the surrounding area this past year. Give us the sense of rewarding spirit for what we have done, and bless our efforts and motivation to continue to serve more people in need. We ask you to bless this food we are about to eat and nourish our mind and body. Bless also those who prepared this food for us. We ask your holy presence and blessings upon all of us here tonight. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tom Gladstone, the President of the Alliance, and I want to welcome you all here this evening. It's a great pleasure to have you all here, and without further ado, I'm just going to let us go and eat, and we'll have other introductions and things later. So, talk to you soon. Thank you.
Detrick
have bad news, or good news, depending on how you look at it. There isn't any dessert. And we did that deliberately because, we knew that everybody was coming off the holidays and, probably overindulged and that kind of thing. So if you were expecting dessert, I'm sorry. If you weren't or don't care, then good for you. But listen, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and I'd like to go through a few introductions of some of our important folks here that are here tonight with us. So if you'd bear with me for a minute, we'll do that and get on with our evening's festivities. So first of all, I'd like to introduce a number of folks that are here tonight that represent, government officials in the state of Maryland and some of our other dignitaries that are here. So allow me to do that. And first, let me introduce General Hayes. General Hayes, and when I call your name, would you stand up and just let everybody know who you are and where you are? General Hayes, who is with the Maryland Department of Business and Economic Development, and he's one of our greatest supporters, provides us with a lot of guidance and advice and good things, and he does a lot of great things, not only for the Fort Detrick Alliance, but for all the alliances in the state of Maryland. So thank you, General Hayes, for being here. And let me introduce, you're gonna see General Line here shortly. He's gonna get up and give a little speech, but I'd like to welcome General Line and Mrs. Line, who are gracious to be here tonight. And I think a lot of you know General Waitman, who used to be the commanding general MRMC. He's here with us today. And let me just go down the list here of folks, and in no particular order, but please stand up and be recognized when I call your name. So Juliana Albowitz from Senator Barbara McCulsey's office is here. Richard Griffin, are you here? Richard's here. Richard's with the Frederick City Department of Economic Development. Thanks, Richard, for being here. Melissa Joseph from Chris Van Hollen's office. Please stand. And from Congressman Delaney's office, we have Kevin Mack and Diana Modelsky. Please stand. From the office of Representative Andy Harris, we have Kevin Rygroot. Kevin. Thank you. And from the city of Frederick, let me introduce Kelly Russell, and Nikki Barmonte. Is Nikki Barmonte here? There she is. Thank you. And from the garrison at Fort Detrick, let me introduce Colonel Middlecamp and Sergeant Major Jessup. Thank you for being here. Also like to introduce Karen Young and Ron Young. Are you here? Please stand up, from the Maryland General Assembly. And Kirby and Tina DeLauder. Kirby is from the Frederick County Council. Thank you. Norm Covert and George Lewis, please stand up. Really great to see a great crowd come out, even with this cold weather that we're having. But I'd like to introduce at this point and bring up George Waitman, who is going to introduce General Line. So, George, please.
Well, good evening, and thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be standing in front of this audience again. I had the pleasure of working with you when I was on active duty, and I got to tell you, just seeing you in action then and then all the years subsequently, it's really made me realize what a force multiplier it is to have a community organized this well and so supportive of everything that goes on at Fort Detrick. So I just want to say, in retrospect, a big thank you for everything that you do and continue to do for all of us. And you don't see this in too many other communities that I've been in. So you have a unique contribution and a unique organization here. So thank you for your dedication to the Fort Detrick community. So give yourself a hand. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker tonight. I've known General Lyon for many years in many different capacities, and I just want to give you a little thumbprint of what you're getting into, okay? Because hopefully he'll be here for a while, hopefully a lot longer than I was. And he's been here 90 days now. And don't worry, he's a very quick learner, okay? And he has a lot of energy, so I have no doubt that he's already hit the ground running, and he's going to share his vision with what he is, what he sees at Fort Detrick, and what he sees the future as. Well, he's from the great state of New York, and he went to the United States Military Academy at West Point, and went from there directly to medical school, not too far from here at Temple University School of Medicine in Philadelphia. Then he did his general surgery internship and residency with follow-on assignments as a general surgeon, both in Germany and then back in El Paso, Texas, where he also worked with one of our special operations units on an as-needed basis. We'll leave it at that. He then served at Fort Hood as a division surgeon, so you're starting to see a diversity of assignments. And actually, his boss, when he was there, was a kind of a large man by the name of Odierno, who happens to be the Chief of Staff of the Army right now. So he had some great mentorship there. He had follow-on assignments as the commander of the hospital at Fort Carson, and he had to deal with some really tough issues while he was there, and did so with great transparency, and picked up even better communication skills while he was in that job. From there, he had a couple other assignments. He went to Landstuhl and was in charge of the medical center that we have over there, and dealt with a lot of casualties that we had coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. A big job. And then he was selected as the Coalition Forces Land Component Commander surgeon over in Kuwait and Iraq. From there, he came back and then was the Forces Command Surgeon. And the Army has not always had a general officer in that position, but I got to tell you, he really turned a lot of heads there with his ability to relate to the line guys and say in plain English what they needed to do and what they were going to get for medical support. From there, he was selected, moved up very quickly to the ladder to Deputy Surgeon General. And after doing penance there in Washington, D.C., he escaped to Frederick 90 days ago. And so who you're getting is a great command team. He and his wife, Terry, have given 30 years of their lives to United States Army and the service of their country. And he's got a lot of energy. So, and he's pretty charismatic. And I'll let you be the judge on how articulate he is here in another couple minutes. But he's a great commander, and it's our honor to have him as our guest speaker tonight, the new commander of MRMC.
Turn this down. Sorry. General Waitman, thanks so much for the introduction. Mr. Gladstone and to the Fort Detrick Alliance, thank you very much for inviting myself, my wife, and the other military members here to be a part of this. I don't say this lightly, but we are truly humbled by the support that we get from this community. Terry and I have this thing that we hang at our house, and we actually have run out of hearts. It's something that we got when we first got married, And there were 13 hearts that were supposed to be every place that we moved. And we run out and we can't find more hearts. We've got to cut out more hearts. And we've moved to Fort Hood and Fort Carson, and General Waitman gave you the litany of where it is that we've been. And we haven't been around a community like what we have up here at Fort Detrick and Frederick, Maryland. And on behalf of every single one of the soldiers and the civilians that are working at Fort Detrick, thank you for the support that you show us and that you show our families. It is truly a unique community and a unique area where we get a lot of support. So thank you. I just want to, they gave me half an hour, so I got a lot to talk about. But I'll try and limit some of my comments. I want to thank you for what the Fort Detrick Alliance has done for our soldiers, first and foremost. In support for our STEM program, the science, technology, education, and mathematics. You, together with us, are developing our next generation of leaders, our next generation of scientists, our next generation of Dr. Larsons are coming out of this STEM program that was originated up here at Fort Detrick and now has morphed across the Army and a lot of our other science and technology labs. But this is where it started because of the relationship that we had with the community. And we're getting the best and the brightest young men and women. And now working at one of our labs are some of the first graduates in high school of the STEM program who have gone off to college and are now coming back to work in our labs because of the relationship that was built out of the STEM program. That and the YES program, the young engineers and scientists who are getting even earlier on and opening up their eyes and showing them what we're doing up at UCSEER and the Research Institute for Infectious Disease, Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. It's been phenomenal. The education and workforce development speaker panels that you've set up at Hood College, at Mount St. Mary College, and at AFC at Frederick. And then the support that you give to our soldiers, which goes unrecognized a lot, the food distribution to some of our soldiers in need at the Maryland Food Bank and the Seed of Life nurseries that you've handed out at Whittier Elementary School. Thank you very much. That goes a long way in support of our soldiers. I had the opportunity to address some of you at the Smart Proc back in November. What a huge opportunity and what a huge benefit to being able to partner with our businesses, share with you what research we're doing up here, and try and bring more and more research capability, research opportunity from the community up to Frederick and to Fort Detrick. It's just helping both of us out, and so it's phenomenal. What we've done in terms of emergency planning, what we've done with school support, our school partnerships, the business partnerships, the community education, as I mentioned, Adopt a School program, Lead the Way, and Connections Beyond the Classroom. And then, as was mentioned earlier, the volunteerism that goes both ways. And I know that I'm not speaking for Steve Middlecamp or Sergeant Major Jessup, but our Fort Detrick would not function if we didn't have the volunteers. The volunteers in the Child Development Center, the volunteers in the chapel, the volunteers at Thrift Shop, volunteers in a lot of our organizations, Red Cross that works over at the clinic, the Red Cross that works over at the VA. We exist because of the volunteers. And then I know our soldiers and our family members volunteer a lot in the schools and in the local surrounding communities, coaching our youth programs and all the rest of that stuff. That symbiotic relationship that has developed going back before Dr. Larson was here has been one of the most unique and enriching portions of what my wife and I have recognized about what's going on up here. So thank you very much. I want to give a quick update to all of you. First of all, on the status of Fort Detrick, because I'm sure a lot of you have got questions and wondering what's going on. and then finally the status of our Army and where our Army is today and where our Army's going in the course of the next 3 to 5 years. So Fort Detrick is strong, and it's only going to get stronger. You've read and you've seen in the newspaper the concerns about the Army drawing down and our bases closing and our bases going away. And you saw an announcement today in the news that some of our bases over in Europe are closing down. The good news, and you know, this is from Colonel Middlecamp and I, is that we're not losing any of our populations here at Fort Detrick, Maryland. And thanks to our congressional support, thanks to our military liaisons that are working in the state of Maryland, and thanks to you, to the Fort Detrick Alliance, we are not losing any of our population of what we have done up here. And actually, with your support, we're getting ready to open the new Research Institute for Infectious Disease. Next week, we finally get the Opossum Town Gate turned over to Fort Detrick, and we'll get that gate up, open, and running. The Consolidated Logistics Facility, we're going to be opening up. The second floor of the USACER labs with some phenomenal research capabilities with what we got up there with some of our animals and some of the stuff that we've got up there is pretty neat. And we just opened that up last week. So some of the capabilities that we've got up there is pretty exciting. Our focus at U.S. Army Medical Research and Materiel Command for the next 2 years is going to be really focused on the care of the combat soldier. And there's been a lot of people that have questioning us saying, hey, well, aren't we out of combat? Why are you continuing to do care on the combat soldier? And it's even more important now that we focus the care on the combat soldier. What we need to do in terms of trying to understand traumatic brain injury, what it is that we need to do in terms of trying to understand post-traumatic stress disorder, trying to prevent those, trying to identify markers either in the blood or in diagnostic tests so that we can implement treatment and the right treatment early so that we don't have to give them lots and lots and lots of medications to try and figure out which one's going to work. A lot of that bench work research is being done at our labs, and that's going to be our focus, neurotrauma, combat casualty care. And as you have all probably seen in the news, we have been kind of subsumed by the Ebola crisis over in West Africa. Today, from Medical Research and Materiel Command, we have multiple people deployed over in Liberia, doing lab research with the Liberian government, doing analysis on the Liberian population. We've got logisticians from the 6th Medical Logistics Command that's over there, and we have several other people over there that is in support of Ebola. As I mentioned to our table, one of our ambitions is actually to develop a long-term laboratory facility over there to be able to study the Ebola and some of the other diseases that are over there that we've been studying since Dr. Larson was still back at RID doing some of the research there, and Lassa and Q fever and malaria. What's been interesting to us, to be honest with you, is just last week there were more people that were killed because of malaria in Africa than have been killed since the start of the outbreak from Ebola. And you look at every single drug and diagnostic treatment and the vaccines that are going on right now, every single one of those came out of the research from Medical Research and Materiel Command, from either Research Institute for Infectious Disease or what we're doing down at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. So there will be a redoubling of effort of that. We've got the first ever AIDS vaccine that passed the clinical trials with about a 75% effectiveness of preventing AIDS in the population. And we've got 2 labs, one in Thailand and one in Kenya, that are outreaches of our facilities here in the United States, where we've gone and done some testing on what we used and refined it and are going to do another clinical trial that we hope to even improve the effectiveness. Our goal is to get to a 90% effectiveness with this vaccine, and with the work that we've done, where we are right now, somewhere between 60 and 70% at a year, there's little doubt that within the next couple of years, with the support that we've got, that we can get to well over 80 to 90%, which would be a phenomenal breakthrough. Status of our Army. If I stood up here 5 years ago, everybody would know that our Army is stretched and our Army is in conflict. You would see on the front page of every single newspaper the number of soldiers that were deployed in harm's way into Afghanistan, the number of soldiers that were deployed in harm's way in Iraq. 5 years ago, my wife and I were at Lonsdale Regional Medical Center, and every single day, for 720 straight days, at least one plane landed at Lonsdale from either Iraq or Afghanistan with wounded, ill, and injured soldiers coming back from one of those theaters of war. What a lot of people don't understand is still today, there are over 10,000 soldiers deployed in harm's way in Afghanistan. And as you probably don't know, because it hasn't gotten any press, the president has doubled our troop population into Iraq. And we continue to have more and more soldiers going over in an advisory role into Iraq. And we have soldiers deployed in harm's way in West Africa, doing the Ebola virus. We have 10 active Army divisions right now. 9 of those 10 divisions are deployed or getting ready to deploy into harm's way. 9 out of the 10. All right? So we are no less busy, and if anything, we are stretched even more as an Army than we were 10 to 15 years ago, because back then the Army was a lot bigger and a lot more robust than it is right now. And the armies had to shrink, and these armies had to downsize, and yet we continue to have these missions that we've got. We were all concerned about sequestration, as should you all be concerned about sequestration. We got a 2-year break from sequestration in the Army, which was great, which allowed us to build up the readiness and to build up the strength of our soldiers and the strength of the family programs. Sequestration starts again on 1 October 2015, start of FY16, unless we do something about it. And what that means to our Army and what that means to Fort Detrick is liable to be significant. The last time that we went through sequestration here at Fort Detrick, the impacts of that were pretty significant. We lost twice as many scientists as we were able to hire because they were concerned of the long-term investment in funding and science and technology that we're going to go after. And so if you got an ability to talk to some congressmen, whatever you can do about lobbying to try and get sequestration taken off of the books and sustainable funding for our military focused on readiness would be great. As you know, as you may not know, the Army has come out with a new operating concept, which is brand new, and we've learned a lot from fighting our last 2 wars. Unfortunately, or fortunately, so has the enemy. There is not a near-peer competitor anywhere in the world. Our tanks, our artillery, our soldiers, our weaponry, our systems, our ability to fly at night, our ability to see at night, our ability to operate at night, our ability to operate around the world and interconnect is unmatched by any near-peer competitor that's out there. So how do they defeat us? How do they go after us? They go after us by attacking us where we are the weakest. And you've seen that in both Iraq and Afghanistan. And so the Army has developed a new operating concept which is as fundamental to the Army as when young Lieutenant Waitman was graduating from West Point and going out, and we were going into air-land battle, and we had the Big 5, the Abrams tank, the Apache helicopter, the Bradley, the M109, and the UH-60. Those were the big 5 technologies. Well, we've got a brand new operating technology that's called Force 2025 and beyond. And to be honest with you, the major focus of that we're going to be focusing on here with the Medical Research and Material Command is the human dimension. Because of technology, you know, our ability to have that capability over our near peer has rapidly leveled off. But what we still have is we still have, and we always will have, the best soldiers and the best non-commissioned officers on the battlefield. And so our focus in a lot of our labs and a lot of our research and working with the rest of the Army, our focus is going to be on human dimension and human performance. And you've heard the Surgeon General talk about the performance triad, about getting after sleep, activity, and nutrition. But we're going even further into that, into what makes soldiers tick. How can we improve their recovery nutrition? How can we improve their sleep? How can we improve their human performance? And how can we improve their interaction with technology? Because it's not that the technology is going to be win, it's going to be how the humans interact with that technology, how they interpret the results of that technology, how they're rapidly able to turn that information into information dominance and then defeat the enemy. And so I am convinced that our soldiers, having seen a lot of them coming out, our soldiers are ready and are willing and are able, and focusing on education and training and the optimization of the soldier, we'll get after what the Chief of Staff of the Army has asked us to get after in terms of looking at Force 2025 and beyond. So I am firmly convinced that the Army is a strong, a robust Army, and while I'm worried about sequestration, we are still going to have the best Army out of any Army anywhere in the world. And we will continue to draw support from great communities like the Fort Detrick Alliance and the Frederick community. And you know, that wasn't always the case. You know, it wasn't too long ago that soldiers were not allowed to come home in uniform. And they're actually told not to come home in uniform because they weren't allowed to, because people confused politics with the individual soldier. And I'll tell you, I walk around in my uniform, and I can't go anywhere without somebody coming up to me and thanking me and shaking my hand and thanking me for my service. And so this is my opportunity to thank you for your support and your continuing ongoing support for the soldiers and our families, looking after my wife and kids when I'm deployed. You've taken them into your arms. You and the community has, and multiple other soldiers. You've taken them to your house for Thanksgiving. You've made sure they've got what they needed for Christmas. And so on behalf of every single one of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that are stationed at Fort Detrick, thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing to foster the alliance that we've got here. Thank you.
And this is an award that we present every year to a distinguished individual in the Frederick, Fort Detrick community who has provided so much to advance the research, the work that goes on here, and has supported the community so greatly over the years. And this year, we want to honor Edgar Bud W. Larson for that and provide that award to him. Mr. Larson was employed at Fort Detrick for 32 years, including 22 years in the Army. And he worked for 10 years at the U.S. Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases and held a position of the Chief of Aerobiology at that institution. And along with research groups in the UK and Canada, he directed pioneering studies on the development of quantitative aerobiology as a biological scientist. And through his tenure, he directed aerosol studies in support of research and development on both biological agents and aerosol dissemination hardware. These studies, conducted in specialized aerosol containment facilities, routinely measured the survival and respiratory infectivity properties of many airborne pathogens. And for those of you who aren't aware of what I just said, he studied a lot of bugs. His education was at the Iowa State University, where he majored in microbiology, and then he did a lot of courses while he was with the Department of Defense, and he was largely self-taught in statistical design and analysis and its use in experimentation. So the reason, that he's been nominated for this award, and we reached out to some of our previous award winners and some other folks in the community to find the right person to give this award to. But because of his role in fostering community relationship between Fort Detrick and the city of Frederick and the county of Frederick, for his work on numerous committees, including service on the county school board, continuing support to Norm Corvert's, one of our previous award winners, efforts to communicate the Detrick message and mission over the years, it has made him a prime candidate for this award. So without further ado, hello, thank you. Without further ado, we would like to get Mr. Larson to come up, and I would congratulate him on this award. And can I get General Lyon to come up and help us present the award?
Needless to say, I'm overwhelmed by this honor. I'm really grateful to the Alliance for the recognition that you gave me. In about 3 weeks, I'll celebrate my 89th birthday. It's been a long journey. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I have to say, too, that in this I've been somewhat productive, and I brought 2/3 of that production with me tonight. And my daughter Karen, my eldest daughter, and my daughter Paula. The other third of the production lives in Kansas City, and she wasn't able to make it. But anyway, thanks again, and I'm really in pretty fabulous company with the man that rebuilt the aqueduct and the other that wrote the book. Thank you again.
We have a couple of other things we want to do tonight. Having Gloria. Did I do something? Oh, there we go. Gloria Parsley come up and help us to provide some awards to some folks that are going to be leaving the Alliance. So I'm going to turn it over to Gloria.
Wow, what a great evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm very pleased with the turnout, and I only want to express my appreciation to all of you, to our members, to our sponsors, to our partners, to our volunteers. It really takes a community to keep the Alliance going. So I appreciate all of your efforts. At this time, we would like to, see if that helps. We would like to recognize some of our retiring board members. And unfortunately, we only have 2 that could actually attend tonight. So if I could get David Krogan from FCC to come up. And Gilroy Gatianga.
Gilroy's going to stay on the board, actually, but he's departing as one of our officers, and we appreciate everything he did for us. So if we can get a picture, that would be good. Keep smiling. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
And at this time, I would like to recognize and ask all of the 2015 Board of Directors to stand, and we will install you in the new Board of Directors for this year. So Diane Yartnell with GRSI, Tom Gladstone, it will remain our president with Booz Allen Hamilton, Harry Modrow with Leidos. We have Jim Swearingen with NBAC. Jim is unfortunately not able to be here this evening. Frank Blanchard with Leidos Biomedical. Gilroy will stay on the board, although he's not going to be secretary. So Gilroy, stand back up again. Cheryl Hull with the Henry Jackson Foundation. And we have new board members. We have Gino Alturi with GDIT. Alanka Brown with FCC, Ashley Collier with NIMEO, Matthew Rittler with Mount St. Mary's University, and Ron Volpe with Hood College. This year we had an amazing amount of STEM education programs, and they were all funded and supported and enacted by our members, our sponsors, and our volunteers. So if you've been seeing the slideshow, which is supposed to be scrolling over there, but may not be scrolling very well, we have STEM education programs in place, everything from preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and adult. So I'm very pleased that we have such a wide range and participation. So would I like to take a moment, and would everybody who is represented by or has participated in volunteering in a program with STEM education. I have certificates of appreciation for each of you, and you can come and get them after the ceremony, but if you would just stand up in place. We have partnerships with the Frederick County Public Schools. So I know we have representatives here from Frederick County Public Schools and the Board of Ed tonight. If you please stand. We have representatives here from Frederick Community College. From the Frederick County Business Roundtable for Education, which is part of our Future Link for middle school. For the National Interagency Confederation of Biological Research, for their education in high school and college career exploration days. And I need to turn over the next stack. There's a lot of you. We also want to thank those that have participated in our community outreach programs. The Western Maryland Food Bank, and we do have 2 representatives here from the Western Maryland Food Bank, they donated more than 100,000 pounds of food to the Frederick community that fed 8,000 people. So thank you to the Maryland Food Bank. That program would not happen if it wasn't for the partnership we have with Whittier Elementary School that allows us to use their facility for the distribution. So another certificate of appreciation for Whittier Elementary School, their staff, their custodians who have to clean up after us. And also for a great partner, Michael Dixon, who provides not only the pickup truck that hauls all of the leftovers after each distribution, but he provides the insurance, and he brings many, many volunteers with him each time, the work that you've done for this program, for Frederick's community and for the Alliance. Of how many people in this room, if you have volunteered, served on a committee, presented a STEM program, worked on anything to do with the Alliance, please stand up. If you've been on the board, if you received an award from us, this is a great community, and I cannot thank all of you enough. And Tom, if you'd like to come up for closing remarks.
So let me just take a few minutes here. First of all, Gloria mentioned Jim Swearingen, who is one of our board members who was not here tonight because of a death in his family. So we're missing Jim tonight, but we were going to present him with the award as Volunteer of the Year for the Fort Detrick Alliance. Jim does amazing things for us. He comes to almost every food drop that we have at Whittier Elementary School. He supports all of our education programs, STEM education, everything. And he's always there in the front line trying to do the right thing for everybody in the Frederick community. And we wanted to present him with this award. And I just wanted to read to you what it says on this award. It says, Volunteer of the Year, Jim Swearingen. Excellence can be obtained if you care more than others think it wise, risk more than others think it's safe, dream more than others think is practical, and expect more than others think is possible. And that's Jim. And so I'd like to congratulate Jim and we will present this award to him at the next board meeting, which is in a couple of weeks. So congratulations to Jim. Thank you all. I'm really thrilled that everybody's here tonight. We got I think a much greater turnout on this very, very cold evening than we expected, and I really want to thank everybody for being here. The Alliance couldn't do what it does without the people who are in this room. Our members, our government sponsors, our government liaisons, the people that support us from Fort Detrick. We couldn't do what we do without all of you, and that's the purpose of this dinner. That's why we're here tonight, is to congratulate you and thank you for all that you do for us. And thanks, General Line, for your comments earlier. Really appreciate that. Colonel Middlecamp, we really appreciate all your support and advice and things that you do for us, and that will continue. As I mentioned earlier, General Hayes, we really appreciate everything you do for this alliance and all the alliances in Maryland, and thank you for being here tonight. But I believe the Fort Detrick Alliance is a very vital organization here in the Frederick community. I'm confident that the Alliance can continue to provide the great kinds of service that we've provided in the past. And just to give you a little idea, some examples of some of the things that we've been doing, and you've heard some of these already from both General Line and from Gloria, but just a few things. We did in 2014 our biannual tours of some of the research facilities on Fort Detrick. We do annual technology showcases at FITCI, that's the Frederick Innovative Technology Center, and at Hagerstown Community College Technology Innovation Center. We had exhibits at the National Interagency Confederation of Biological Research Festival back in the spring, at Defense Labs Tech Transfer Showcase, Innovation to Commercialization 2014, and at SmartProc. We partnered to host educational and workforce development speaker series and networking events with Hood College, Mount St. Mary's University, Germantown Innovation Center, universities at Shady Grove, and the Armed Forces Communications and Electronics Association here at Fort Detrick. And we sponsored STEM education programs, as you've already heard, for school-age children at Frederick County Public Libraries, the Judy Center, Hood College, Frederick Community College, and at NICBER. And in partnership with Maryland Food Bank, as has already been mentioned, we distribute food the last Tuesday of every month at Whittier Elementary School near Fort Detrick. And as Gloria mentioned, it's been over 100,000 pounds the last year. And it was, we provide up to about 8,000 pounds of food every month to needy families in the Frederick community. And we will continue these things. And our plan is to continue all of these kinds of events and things that we sponsor throughout 2015. And as we look to the future, you know, our vision remains in the Alliance to do these things through outreach, education, and partnerships. Those are our three basic tenets as part of this organization. And we want to continue those, you know, our networking events like this dinner and other things that we do to bring together the community so that you can share with others in the community on what you're doing and how you're doing it. It helps to educate everybody and keep everybody informed of what's going on in the Frederick community. With our Think with Bank program, for example, for our elementary school kids and the STEM education programs that we work with. And we want to forge new partnerships as we go through the next year. Partnerships like we have with Frederick County Public Schools and the Frederick County Library. So these will remain, you know, those three legs of our triad, so to speak, will remain, and we will continue to do that work through 2015. And in that regard, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our committee work. We have several committees at the Alliance that really do a lot of the work that occurs, and I want to thank them for that. We have our organization committee, and they, you know, primarily, as you probably know, take care of the organization, basically. They worry about the bylaws, they worry about the slate of officers we have, the membership. They do a lot of that kind of work on a regular basis. We have our communications and marketing committee, and you know, you should have all found a copy of our 2014 annual report at your table, and I encourage you to take that with you, read it, look at it. It's got some really good information in there, not only about the Alliance, but about things that are going on in this community and at Fort Detrick. So I'd really encourage you to take that with you, and if you know, anything in there that you want to talk about or question or have concerns about, you know, please contact us. Phone number's right on the front page there, and you can reach Gloria in an instant because she's always on the phone, even though she doesn't want to be. But anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. And our Education and Workforce Development Committee, they you know, of course, support all of our STEM and other education programs. So I'd like to encourage anybody here that's a member of the Alliance that wants to be a part of any of these committees. We're always looking for help. We need all the help we can get, and I'd really encourage you to let us know that you'd like to help us and be a part of one of these committees. It's really rewarding work because we do a lot of great things. And if you'd like to get more information about our committees, again, please contact Gloria at that phone number on the front. So now I'd like to, where is Gloria? Come up here. I have a little award for Gloria. Gloria, you know, this Alliance would not have survived this last year and done all the great things that it did without Gloria. I mean, it's just that simple. She is the Fort Detrick Alliance. She epitomizes all the work that we do. She stands out in the community. I think everybody here in this room knows her personally. I mean, she does all the things that help us reach out and do all the good things that we do for the community and for Fort Detrick. She's unbelievable in all that she does and will continue to be a great asset for us. So I'd like to honor Gloria with a small token of our appreciation. And so I'm going to present her with this award. And let me read it. It says, for her relentless dedication, undying loyalty, for her determination, self-discipline, and hard work, and for her devotion to Fort Detrick and its neighboring communities, this award is presented to Gloria Parsley, Executive Director. So you can see how much we appreciate you here. Everybody in the room appreciates you. And we have a little something in the envelope too, just to help out a little. So again, donation. Yeah, we expect you to donate that. No, but thank you, Gloria. I mean, it's all about working together, and you know, as Gloria always says in every email you get, she says, together we can make a difference. And I think together we have made a difference in this community, and I really thank Gloria for all that support and work. And as one final plea, just before I let you all go, and I would really like for all of you who are members of the Alliance and who support us in so many different ways, we're always looking for members. You know, the only way we can survive is through our membership and the folks that support us in that way. So anybody out there who knows anybody that ought to be a member of the Fort Detrick Alliance, please let us know who that is. Please encourage them to call us, whatever you have to do, because we're really looking for more support, and that's what keeps us going. And we'd like to expand our programs. We'd like to do more and more and more, and we'd like to especially do more for Fort Detrick. And we're going to work with Colonel Middlecamp, General Line, to try and find ways to do that. So anyway, that's all I have. I really am thrilled again for all the attendance here tonight. I really thank all of you, and I respect you for getting out in this cold weather and coming out here and enjoying the evening with us. So thank you very much. Please drive safely going home. And if anybody else wants to say anything, here's your chance. If you don't, then everybody have a great night. Thank you very much.